there's people out there that are watching right now are just looking for stuff to buy and hold forever and not really have to worry about it, you can't go wrong with Amazon. We've talked about Amazon and Apple already today. Tesla's another one that's gone up over $450 a share. Today, finally, after dropping to 308, this thing feels so good to have held on to. And so I kind of wanted to transition into this one a little bit as well. Lance, welcome to the Chaos Crew, my man. Level 2. So level 2 will get you the access now to my public portfolio as well. We'll go ahead and share that later on in the show today too, let you know what I'm in and how well we're doing. But, yeah, man, Tesla is just on a freaking roll, and I don't think we see a dip rolling into battery day from this point on.
Yeah, I don't think so. I told you that I will probably, depending on how this week plays out, I will probably sell half my position going into on battery day because I'm over full position size on this bad boy. But yeah, I mean, Tesla is a monster, and they got the justification on why it dropped. People got there. I guess they're comfortable with the justification. And so it needed to come back. Yeah. It needed to cool off. And so, I'm just excited. I think that Tesla is another one of those stocks that, you buy one for your kid and watch that thing freaking multiply when they graduate. But just like I mentioned about the Apple Watch, we've talked about how far they are in front of their next closest competitor. Everybody's just trying to make something on par with them. And the reality is, I expect them to announce something that even widens the lead and just makes it more insurmountable. One day, yes, somebody may be able to compete with them, but they're just leaps and bounds ahead of anybody else.
Here's the thing about Tesla too, is that like they don't just have battery day catalyst coming up either. They got earnings coming up, which I'm sure they will end up crushing. And you have all this mess going on with all the other EV companies trying to chase them down. I mean, we saw the debacle with Nikola this past week, and it's been an absolute disaster. I mean, you have Shill coming up. You also have Fisker, which honestly, I think out of all of them, I think Fisker could end up having a pretty decent merger going through there. I think that they end up doing well. It's already moved significantly, but Fisker's already given this a shot. So I feel like they already had the experience, and they just need to, get the money back again and start to really move forward with it. So I think from a consumer standpoint, Fisker could be in that conversation a little bit, but they're just going to be a car company. And we always talk about Tesla just being so much more than that, and some of the industries that they're going to be taking over. But battery day is coming up on Tuesday, and we got so many other catalysts coming up for Tesla that it's a no-brainer to just keep buying and adding if you can afford it. But yeah, it's been awesome just to kind of watch this thing. I mean, there's a lot of people that were down in the dumps over the last couple of weeks. I'm like, guys, just chill out. Like, it'll be fine. It's Tesla. It does this. And even when it dropped down to 308, I think was the low. If this was still, pre-split, it would still be sitting at $1,500 a share, which is mind blowing to think about. So it's like, calm down. We'll be fine. I mean, it ran 100% in 2 months time, so it needed to cool off for sure. I think this probably ends up getting to $500 maybe by battery day. What you got on this?
Yeah, if it hits 5, I'm gonna sell half my stake. I mean, I'm gonna have some skin in the game, but that's 2,500 pre-split. Like,
yeah,
that's insane. I remember watching Don Franz on here. I remember watching Don's video and like, will it hit 2,000? I was like, a month ago.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think the challenge, if there is any challenge, is like the bar set so high.
Right.
How can Tesla keep outdoing itself? So my hope, I don't want to say my hope, it works out either way. If there's some crazy announcement, it runs great. I think it's really going to be hard to live up to the hype and tell us something that's going to get people going. So if it runs, and I'm going to have a smaller stake, and I'm going to be happy with that. But if it pulls back, which I feel like there's going to be a lot of profit taking after that, because I don't know what they can say that can blow me away unless they're building a car that can fly. Yeah. then I'm going to increase my position again when that pulls back. Is the game plan. We'll see how it plays out. But it's looking for that. It's looking for that 500.
It's interesting because every time I see events like this from Tesla, there's always a surprise, and that's what sends the stock soaring. So, last time when Cybertruck came out, it dipped, but then they had so many other stuff going on with Cybertruck that it just ended up taking off. Basically halfway through the day after the event. And I mean, anytime that they've had something, there's always been some sort of surprise. I mean, we talk about when the automation day or whatever it was called, when they were talking about their automated driving and robo taxis and stuff like that. Stock went crazy that day. So, I mean, there is a lot of hype surrounding around this, so that could be a little bit more of a different reaction, but I'm waiting for the surprise that comes at this event. Everybody already has rumored about a 1,000,000-mile battery, so that's not really going to come to a surprise to anybody. But if he comes out with something like our semi trucks are going to be in production within the next couple of months, or they are in production, or whatever, like anything that they've been working on that he can say that they've made an advancement on, I think that will end up sending the stock through the roof.
Yeah, and looking forward, as I said, if it pulls back, I'm going to increase my stake. Thinking about going into next earnings, I don't see any way I hold on through earnings, because I think that's going to be a challenge for them. But like, if they can get that hype machine running into the earnings, ooh, I'll love that.
Yeah.
Let's get that thing going. But at some point, and I know it's probably not a popular thing to say, I'd rather take my profits while everybody's hyped and everybody's looking forward to all this stuff, because it's going to come back, and I've got to be smart in this. And so I just feel like there's got to be a point where like they're just not living up to the expectations, because you can't just continue to throw numbers out. Oh, it's going to go to 1,000, 2,000. At some point, the valuation has to be justified, and it's getting to territory that I don't think's justified.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that was the whole point of why Tesla ended up coming out with that $5 billion offering, and why it ended up just selling it right away. The type of offering, if you guys didn't catch that they put out, usually is an offering that gets spread out over time. Whereas this time when they put it out, they basically sold all of it right away, which is what brought the stock down to 308. I guess what they weren't expecting was the amount of demand that would be coming back for this thing. The reason they did that was because they were trying to create less volatility. And I think a lot of this just has to do with the S&P 500 inclusion, to try to give it less, weight to really affect the S&P. Because if this is on the S&P, imagine what the S&P would look like today if Tesla was on it. It would just be going insane. And you think about, economists and whatever that use the S&P as kind of like a finger on the pulse, if you will. And when the only thing that really is moving or influencing the whole index is Tesla, that's kind of a dangerous place to be. So I think that was probably part of their primary motivation. There's also theories that, their employees that are holding stock of Tesla are getting a little bit nervous about it going so crazy and stuff like that, because you have a lot of employees that hold a lot of Tesla stock as well. And the other thing is that they have so many retail investors in this thing. And I think that's why it's so emotional and why it goes crazy like this. You don't have a whole lot of institutions that are kind of keeping this thing grounded, like you do with Etsy, for example, that went to the S&P, and it's just been a roller coaster, and it always has been in it. But I think that's one of the biggest reasons why it hasn't been included yet into the S&P. As we're sitting here now, though, it's at the high of the day, just cracked 452.77 now at the high of the day. This thing is just rolling, bro. I'm so freaking stoked about this thing.
And I want to talk about confirmation bias a bit, and then get into some question since it's 2:30, we'll get into a couple questions. But confirmation bias I see it all the time in the stock market, but it's just the idea that if you have a theory, that you'll find information to confirm that theory. So I believe that Tesla is going to go up. I'm going to find articles. I'm going to find reasons why I think it's going to go up. To me, a great investor, not trader, but just investor in general, can look at both sides, can weigh pros and cons. So if you're talking to me and you're like, I'm buying this stock, and you're not telling me, if you're not showing me that you've done your due diligence and explaining why there is a downside, then you haven't done enough work. And so, yeah, it's great. Like, I'm going to tell you this, no amount of cars right now, depending on their capacity, is going to matter for their earnings.
Right.
What's going to matter is the future. And I think that what I'm concerned about is this idea that everybody thinks that like Tesla can do no wrong And once you start getting in that mind frame, be careful, because you're going to get in trouble. You could get in trouble because any bad news is going to take this thing down. So let me be clear. I'm very bullish on Tesla. I think that S&P inclusion could happen this year, and it's going to go off if it does.
Yeah.
I think that they have a lot of good news coming. But when you say, oh, no, you have no idea, Christian, well, the reality is that, let me tell you this. If it hits 600, that means that it's almost around the same valuation as Amazon. If you had $3,000, like, you're going to put it in Amazon or Tesla. I'm sorry, I'd put it in Amazon. Like, just at some point you got to go, and you just got to be like, okay, it can't be valued more than Amazon.
Right.
It could be valued more than Toyota. Fine. It's not a car company, but you got to be like, okay, at some point. So I'm very bullish on it. I know I'm going to get a bunch of heat about this. I feel good about it, but I think Battery Day, there's a chance that it could go down. No, it's going to go down after Battery Day. That's my.
I mean, look, there's definitely. I think it's definitely good to have a voice of reason when it comes to all this stuff. You can't just be like turn a blind eye to things. And no, I agree that you can't just be, oh, it's just going to the moon all day, every day. And I mean, look, it's still going up. I still think that it has the opportunity to continue to rise, but I'm in the same boat here. There's got to be a point to where you got to know when to say when. I don't know if Battery Day is it, but I think there's definitely, more pullbacks coming for it. This has just been in a phenomenal move. I mean, it's moved up 25%, over 25%, almost 30% in the last 3 trading days. So it's been pretty incredible move so far. I'm not complaining. I'm loving it. I'm just going to enjoy the ride while it's still here. But
I want people to remember what just happened. And we had a lot of people who were about to jump off the ledge who like whole accounted it.
Yeah.
You can't abandon the fundamentals. I get it. Like, I want to put my whole account in that. I want to make sure that we're offering, I don't want anybody, like, hold on to some for sure, but this stock is no different than any stock. Like, feel free to take profits at any point in time, people. So,
it's definitely different than any other stock. Let's be clear about that.